Welcome back, everyone. Today is April 29th, and I am going to do another quick, just kind of a quick overview of the work that's been going on. It's been pretty quiet here, dealing with, weather and other things than the car, but I have made some progress. So I'll kind of walk through and show you what I've done. So the first thing you'll see here is I have the fuel pressure regulator in place, and that I am waiting on a couple fittings. I can run the return line, and then the feed line will come up to the engine rail, and then the output of the engine will go into the regulator on this port here. Once I get the pressure set, I'll pull this gauge and put a plug in, since I've heard, at least anecdotally, that these gauges tend to break down. The diaphragm inside tends to break down, and they'll leak over time, and that can lead to a fire. So once I have the pressure set, there's no need to leave a gauge on it, and that'll also free up, an inch and a half of space there that I'll be needing. This wire here is just loosely laid in place. That's going to feed the alternator. Still have the battery cable there. These three wire bundle up here are for the inside power feed. So one goes to the ignition switch, one goes to the fuse panel, and then one goes to the DC sub panel that I have in place. And those are going to go onto, you'll see this pass-through stud that I decided is what I'm going to use. And I'll, once I have the engine and things, all the components that go up along this back of the engine here, I'll know where I want to run that stud through the firewall. So that's the plan for that. I've done a little bit of work. Got the AC dryer mounted. So the bracket that Factory 5 provides is a stainless steel bracket. I powder coated that, mounted the dryer, made the electrical connections to the dryer. This remaining set of wires goes down to the compressor, and there's a pigtail that will let me splice into the pigtail from those two loose wires, and that'll plug directly into the Ford Performance AC compressor that's going to be used. The other work that I've been doing is for the Wolf box mirror, and you'll see I've got some cabling just kind of temporarily zip tied to the roll cage. This is the route that the cables are going to take. I don't think I'm going to try to go inside the cage, just because what has to go through there are these, right angle USB connectors, which I would have to drill pretty good size holes in the cage to get those to go through. Yes, I could plug them with a grommet. But the thing is, when the body's on the car, you won't see this edge or this side of the roll cage. So I'm looking for some clips that I can attach to the roll cage that will not be visible from inside the car, that I can then attach these cables to. So one of these cables is the main feed, or power feed for the mirror itself, and then the other one actually runs down and goes down through here and into the transmission tunnel. You'll see that bundle of wires there. I have a switch that will mount to the reverse switch on the TKX transmission, and that will operate the reverse mirror and put the reverse lines on when the car is in reverse. The rear mirror itself gets power through the larger cable, whichever one of these is the rear, but it runs all the way through the car and comes around, and that bundle now is in here with the license plate light leg of the harness. So you'll see the cable and the reverse light or reverse switch wire here. These connect directly to, or this plugs into the camera. On the back of the car, the typical location for the license plate is kind of down off to the side. I'm actually going to pull it center and maybe French that in a little, so that on the back of the body, with this angle, I'll cut open this part of the body and French this back or push this back so the license plate is vertical, and have the lights in the body above the license plate, along with the camera that'll mount just above the license plate in the center. Thought about putting the camera up in the hatch area, but that does not give you the visibility directly behind the car when you're reversing, which I really think is a more critical feature. And the camera's a pretty good wide angle lens, so it still will work well for the for the rear view mirror function. But by having it centered in the back of the car here, it'll also provide that backup camera functionality that is more of a safety for others and for the car itself. You won't be able to see hardly anything out of the back of this car from the driver's seat. The high back seats, and as tight and confined as it is, you don't have a lot of visibility out of the back of the car when you're trying to reverse. So that's kind of where I'm at with the car this week, and I'll keep plugging along. Like I said, got some fuel fittings coming. I'll be adding just the return line to the regulator there, and then just plugging along. The engine is in production at Factory 5, so I did receive formal notice from Factory 5 that my engine package is in production. It should be available sometime either this week or early next week to be picked up by the transporter. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then, it takes them 3 or 4 days once they have it loaded and are on the road to get it here from Massachusetts. So should have an engine here in early May. I've also been communicating with Formacars, who I purchased the Coupe power window kit through. They've been waiting for a company to pick up where another one dropped off in terms of making the DOT glass, the tempered glass for those kits. So they've been kind of back ordered for several months while they were waiting. They were trying to find another manufacturer for those, and they've found one, and they're supposed to get a delivery of glass from them the first week of May, and then those kits will be shipping. So my kit is sitting ready to ship except for the glass, which is kind of a critical part of that. But then I'll have that in-house, and that won't get installed until sometime down the road, obviously, with the doors needing to be, the body on and the doors needing to be fitted. It's going to be some interesting logistics trying to figure out, when I put all the finishing touches on those windows, not knowing when the car is going to get painted. And there's some belt line pieces that you want to paint the car with those in place, but not with the trim in place, if that makes sense. So the molding that the window goes up and down on the top of the door has to be removed, and that's a challenge when you don't know when your car is going to go to paint, because you want it painted and then final assembly done after paint on the windows. So we'll see where that ends up. It's going to be a challenge, but we'll work through it. I've also ordered my wheels. I found a company. It's an online company. They're called Stark Forged Wheels, and placed a custom fit order with them for the wheels that I am really looking for. You can check them out on my build page. I think they look really sharp. They're going to be pretty phenomenal looking on the car. It will eliminate the need for a spacer on the rear, which a lot of the coupes that use like the Factory 5 Halibrand wheels, they end up with a 1 inch or so spacer. So I had the wheels made to essentially accommodate that additional spacing, or reduced back spacing, negative offset on the wheels, so that it pulls the wheel out another inch further than the factory 5 wheels. So that's right about where people are happy with them. And with that, we'll see what happens. Those wheels take about 6 weeks in production, and then they're coming from China, like most everything we buy these days. And they'll be here about a month after production is complete on them. So I'm excited to give those a whirl. The tires, I'm looking at using the similar tire to what's on my Cobra, which are the Michelin PS2s. They still make the PS2 in the rear size, which is a 315/30/18, but they no longer make that PS2 in the size on the front, which is either a 245 or a 255/35/18. But I can get the new PS4S, which is a very similar tire, and I can run the PS4S in the size I want on the front with the PS2s on the rear. So that's probably the route I'm going to go. I really, really like the Michelins on that car. Great traction, wet, dry, cold, hot, and great tread wear. So it's going to be time to actually change these in a couple years. These have been on the car now for 6.5, 7 years. Well, since 2020. Yeah, so going on 6 years. That was January of 2020. So 6 years they've been on the car. So at the 10-year mark, it's pretty much they're done, regardless of how much tread's left on them. And I haven't looked at the date codes, but they're going to even be before that. So within the next couple of years, I'll be replacing those tires. And they're not cheap. They don't come cheap, but safety is the ticket. So anyway, that's all I've got today. I am going to let you guys get back to what you were watching, other than my stuff, and we'll update you again, in a few more weeks. Take care, and come back and watch some more later. Talk to you later.